What's up, guys? Strider here, and I wanted to make this video because Resident Evil 3 came out a few days ago, and I really wanted to, give my opinion about the situation with the game. And hopefully, I would like for you guys to watch this video before you buy the game. Now, one thing that I have to say is that I meant to make this video before the actual game came out, but knowing how I am, I always take forever, I always put things off to the side, and I never, you know, do things in a timely manner. So this is why I'm making this video right now. I know it's late, I'm like days late, but I said, you know what, I might as well make this video right now, because if not, I will never make it. Now, another thing I need to mention is that I don't have the game. I didn't buy the game. If you watched my Let's Play of the demo, you would know why. But that's not important. And honestly, now that I know what I know about the game, I'm not that bummed out that I don't have the game. I'm actually going to wait for a sale, and that's what I would suggest you guys to do as well, because the current state of the game, I mean, as the game is now, because it's not going to change, they're not going to add anything else, at least I don't think so. It's not worth $60. I can tell you right now, it is not worth $60. Now, the reason why I was confident enough to make this video was because one of my friends got the game on day one, and I went over to his house, and he was playing the game, and I was watching him play the game, but I wasn't too focused on it, because I want to play the game for myself, so I don't want to spoil myself too much. So I was just there, with him, just chilling. I was using his computer for the most part. But a few hours passed by, and I turned to look at the screen, and all of a sudden, he had beat the game. Yeah, I'm not even joking. He beat the game in one day. Now, I saw his time at the end, and he had around 5 hours and close to 6 hours of gameplay. And I was like, yo, like, are you serious? Like, you beat the game already? Like, I was like, what the heck? Like, it's that short of a game. And it's true, the game is very short. It's shorter than the Resident Evil 2 Remake. And that's one thing that I feared while coming into this game. I specifically stated that I wanted this game to be longer than Resident Evil 2. Now, looking back on it, I should have realized that was probably not going to happen, because Resident Evil 2 Remake took about 3 years to make, while this game took a year and a few months to make. And of course, a lot of the stuff is reused assets from Resident Evil 2. So I should have expected this, I shouldn't have been so surprised. But I saw a couple of other reviews, and it confirmed that the game is fairly short. 2 reviews that I saw said that they beat the game in 5 hours. And that seems to be the maximum time. Now, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be people who will say, well, if you find all the collectibles and all the other secrets in the game, you could stretch it out a bit more. But my friend found almost all of the little bobbleheads. I think he was missing like maybe four or 5 of them, I'm not sure. And again, he beat the game in under 6 hours. That's still very short. it's shorter than the remake, than Resident Evil 2 Remake. And knowing that, I can say that this game is not worth $60 because Resident Evil 2 Remake, you gotta remember, had 2 campaigns. It had technically 4, but I don't really count them because it's basically the same thing. And honestly, saying it has 2 campaigns is not really true because there's only slight differences, right? But you play as Leon and you play as Claire. Leon has his, characters, his story, and so does Claire. So it gives it that replayable value, because, once you beat Resident Evil 2 with whoever you choose, right, you're gonna beat it again. You don't just beat the game with Claire or Leon and then just don't play the other person's story. That's just not the way Resident Evil works, right? So once you beat the game with Leon or Claire, you have the other character to look forward to. That's the good thing about Resident Evil 2. And even then, once you beat both of their campaigns, you can do the B scenario, which again, it's pretty identical, but those minor differences make it feel worth it, because the story is enjoyable, so you don't mind playing it again. This, on the other hand, is just a straightforward campaign, and there's no modes, there's no battle modes, there's no mercenaries, there's no second campaign, there's no unlockable secret campaign, nothing like that. All it is the game, and you got Resistance, but Resistance is it's basically its own thing. It's its own game, and quite honestly, I'm not interested in Resistance. I played the beta and I wasn't into it. It's just kind of boring, and I don't know, I just felt like it's a waste. And I don't think that game is gonna last very long. I think a couple months and it's probably going to just fade away. So that's you gotta ask yourself, like, is it worth spending $60 on this game? And in my honest opinion, it's not. I would say, if you haven't bought the game yet, I would say to wait for a sale. Wait for a Steam sale in a couple months. Like, people are saying that this game will probably go on sale like around June, and I don't mind waiting until June. Pick up the game for maybe $40-$30 on a Steam sale, PlayStation sale, whatever. And I've heard a lot of people say that this should have been a DLC. And even in the 2 reviews that I saw, one of them was from Skill Up, and the second was from I think it was Dreamcast guy, somebody, I don't remember. Both of them said that this should have been a DLC, and I agree. I honestly wouldn't have minded it being $30. I think $30 is a reasonable price. Some people might say, oh no, that's too much, $20, but I think $20 for the quality of the game, because don't get me wrong, the game has quality to it. It's a great game. It's a great game. It looks great, plays well, story's good, but the length, the content, it's just lacking. And I think a DLC for $30 would have been perfect. I think a lot of people would have been okay with that. I mean, I would have been okay with that, and I would have been able to buy the game on day one. So, but I mean, do you really think Capcom was gonna do that? They know that the fans are very passionate about Resident Evil, and I know that this might come off as a negative video and just whining and complaining, because don't get me wrong, you go on a lot of posts about this game, and there's people just defending this game. You know, if you even criticize this game a bit, you're gonna get bashed on, because there's always gonna be those types of people that just defend everything. And it's like, you know, I really wish people could just sit down and just think about it, you know, try to understand where people are coming from. And you might say, oh, well, you just want to be negative. You know, why do you gotta be so negative? You know, and it's not that people are being negative just for the sake of being negative. Because you gotta understand, this is people's money you're talking about. This is $60. That's a lot of money for a game, especially once you get older and you have more responsibilities, you know, more important things that you have to take care of when it comes to money. Video games start to become more expensive, you know. You can't just buy all the games out. You can't just buy all the new games out there anymore, because every game costs $60 nowadays. You gotta think about which game you're gonna buy. Some people buy 2, maybe 3 games tops a year. I know I've stopped buying mini games nowadays. Back then I used to buy games all the time. You know, every new game that came out, I wouldn't mind shelling out $60. Now I'm hesitant. I gotta think about which games I want to buy. I gotta see if they're worth it, because a lot of games are not worth $60. I mean, games have come out in this, you know, 2019, for example. A lot of games came out in that year that were not worth $60. 2 I can name at the top of my head are Anthem and Fallout 76. Garbage games. They're not even worth $10, honestly. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. So it's very disappointing, right? Because Resident Evil is such an amazing franchise, and I felt like these remakes could have been a lot more. I love Resident Evil 2 Remake. I was saying, even when I first played it, that this game would probably go on to win Game of the Year, and it almost did. And again, I loved the game. I thought it was amazing. For me, it was a 9 out of 10. But I couldn't help but compare it to the original. And as much as I loved that game, it had its problems. There was a lot of stuff missing from the game, because in my opinion, Resident Evil 2 Remake is less of a remake and more of a reimagining of Resident Evil 2. The original will always be my favorite, and in my opinion, it's better than the remake. Now, you might say, oh, well, the original looks like crap. You can't even see the characters. The graphics are bad, you know. But it's not about the graphics. It's about the game itself. All the things that game did. It's just a masterpiece. That game is a masterpiece, and it's just, for me, an amazing game. And Resident Evil 2 Remake is also an amazing game, but it's not better than the original. And Resident Evil 3 suffers the same problem. A lot of missing things, cut content. And people will say, well, the original Resident Evil 3 was also short. It also reused assets. It also cut content. But that's the thing. Why are you going to justify it just because the original did it? I mean, you have to think about it. The original came out, in the late 1990s, 2000, I don't remember. That was like so long ago. The technology back then is different from the technology we have now. And instead of just using the originals as a cop-out, as an excuse, why not take advantage of the technology of the engine to expand upon these games? Because I wanted them to expand upon Resident Evil 2. I wanted them to take what Resident Evil 2 did and expand upon it. Give us more. Tell us more. Like, I really had hopes that they would, for example, the Force Survivor thing with Hunk. I thought they were going to expand upon that. I thought they were going to, tell us more about Hunk and his story and his mission and all that. But no, it was just another mini game. You beat it once and, you probably never touch it again, right? And stuff like that, But what we got was still good, right? I can't complain, but I would have liked to have seen them do more with it, which they didn't. But again, I don't expect Capcom to really, do all that when they could just do less and still make money, right? Doesn't make sense for them, at least. And another thing that I was disappointed in Resident Evil 3 was they reused so many assets. I think, if I'm not mistaken, all the zombie models are the exact same from Resident Evil 2. I think there's only one, I believe there's only one new model that's different, that's new. And it comes much later on in the game. But every single zombie that's in this game is from Resident Evil 2. And like every time I saw these zombies, I was like, I've seen these zombies before. You even fight the same, like when you play the demo and you come out from that shutter, the first zombie you fight, you literally will fight that zombie many times. Even in Resident Evil 2, that zombie, you fight him many times. And that's something that I just can't overlook. I understand, right, the time constraints, what's the point of developing new models, why, when you can just reuse the old ones? No harm, no foul, right? And I get it, I understand, but at least if they would have made 3 new models, I would have been fine. At least they put an effort. But no, just reuse the same assets and just don't expand upon anything, And it's disappointing. It really is, because I think a lot of people need to open their eyes and be like, this is unacceptable, And if you look at it, Resident Evil 3 is not getting the same praise as Resident Evil 2 did, and for good reason. Another thing that I noticed is that this game is just straight up action. It is straight up action. Some people say that it's scary. It's not scary. It's not scary. This game is straight up action. And I mean, I'm not complaining, because that's how Resident Evil 3 was. Even the original 3 was more action than horror, but I feel like the original had more elements of horror than this one. And I think Nemesis was a lot more terrifying in the original than in this one, because as many of you know, or if you don't, Nemesis is scripted in this game, so he only appears in certain areas. He doesn't just appear anywhere in the game like in the original. You were just minding your own business and he would appear. So that's something that they changed, and it took away the scare factor, because now it's like, well, obviously this is scripted and I can just defeat him easily, because I just have to fight him off and then he'll just go away. And a lot of people didn't like that, because it just makes it I don't know. It just takes, like I said, it takes away the scare factor of the game, because Nemesis was one of those things that Resident Evil 3 did so well in the original. And you know, a lot of people were like, well, they wanted it to be like Mr. X in Resident Evil 2. And if I'm being completely honest, Mr. X, I prefer Mr. X from Resident Evil 2 original. And you can say, well, wasn't he scripted there too? And yeah, he was scripted, but when you first played the game, you didn't know he was scripted. You didn't know who this guy even was. You didn't know if he was if he was actually dead. You know, you would shoot him a few times and then he would fall to the ground. And I think the original Mr. X was much more terrifying. Like, just the scene where you're in that you're looking at the camera and he's like walking towards you, and you're like, oh my god, I'm in this exact room where he's walking towards. That part just scared me. Like, when I was young, I was like, oh my god, this monster is literally outside of the door coming in here. So Mr. X for me was whatever. I didn't like nor hate him. It was just kind of there, and I mean, once you figure him out, he's super easy to avoid. Like, I think when you first play the game, you're like, of course, the first time you play the game, you're running and running and running, and he can hear you running. So every time you're running, he knows where you're at. You know, once you figure out how to get past him, it's super easy. I mean, somebody even made a video where you don't even have to run. You can walk and he won't catch you. It just gives you that illusion that he's gonna catch you, because he starts walking faster if you shoot him or something. And you can watch the video. Mr. X will not catch you if you walk. I think you could even walk past zombies. You don't have to run. Unless they lunge at you, they won't catch you. So, knowing all those things, I'm like, wow. It's just like they give you that illusion that it's gonna be scary, the illusion of horror, but it's not really there. It's just made up. But I feel like I'm getting off topic. Going back to Resident Evil 3. Again, don't take this the wrong way, guys. You know, because like I said, there's passionate people out there who will defend these games like their life depends on it. They will attack you, they will criticize you, they will call you all these names, and it's just like, you know, you can't really say anything because they'll attack you. But I mean, honestly, I don't care if they feel that way about me. You know, I have my opinions, I have my views, and I'm just saying what I think and what many others think. You know, that this game is not worth $60. It's pretty disappointing that this game didn't turn out like Resident Evil 2. And again, I'm not saying this game is bad, because it's not bad. The game is not bad, guys. The game is great. It's a good game. It's a good game, okay? The graphics are amazing. The combat is good. The gameplay is smooth. It feels good. The characters, the voice acting, the story, it's all good. But it's not great like Resident Evil 2 was. I mean, the fact that they gave it a 6, Resident Evil 3 got a 6 out of 10. I've seen scores 7, 6, scores like that. They're not great. But again, I'm not making this video to bash on the game, to shit on the game, because I love Resident Evil. And I enjoy these games, but I'm just saying that before you buy this game, think about it. Think if this is the right decision. Think if this is actually worth $60. Because in my opinion, it's not worth $60. My advice to you is to save your money, wait for it to go on sale, and buy it. Because as it is right now, it's not worth it. All you get is the campaign of about 5 hours, 6 hours tops, and that's it. And I mean, if you're really into the multiplayer, the Resistance multiplayer, then, but even then, no, that is not worth $60. That thing is like a $20 game. If it's on its own, it's a $20 game. So, you know, before you buy this game, think about it. Think if it's worth $60. Think if you're gonna get your money's worth, because to me you're not. You know, watch reviews, make your own determination. Don't let, you know. And hey, if you love this game and if you think this game is worth $60, then all power to you. You know, that's your choice, it's your decision. But if you don't like that I'm saying that this game is not worth $60, then I'm sorry. You know, you can leave your comment, you can say whatever you want to say, but to me, it's not worth $60. The fact that I went to my friend's house and I was there for a while and he beat the game in one day. He beat the game in under 6 hours, and even I was surprised. I didn't even realize he was fighting Nemesis at the end, because I saw him fighting like a creature. And then I just see the credits rolling and I'm like, wait, what? You beat the game already? Like, it felt like I had been there for like a few hours and he had already beat the game. It's crazy. But I think that's about it, guys. There's really nothing else I can say. I can't really go too much into detail about the game because I haven't played it myself. I've only seen bits and pieces of the game. I've seen the credits. I've seen part of the ending, so I kind of know. But I haven't played the game for myself. When I do play the game for myself, I'll give you my full thoughts on the game. And maybe it might change my mind. And maybe I might make a follow-up. But I will make a video talking about the game. And I also want to make a video about Resident Evil 2 Remake and the original. I want to talk about the key differences of the games and why I feel like the original is better than the remake. And the reason why I wanted to make this video was because go watch SkillUp's review of Resident Evil 3, and he says, I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly, but he says something along the lines that Resident Evil 2 Remake did it bigger and better than the original, and somebody called them out in the comments saying just that, and I couldn't believe he actually said that. I said, did you just say that Resident Evil 2 Remake was bigger and better than the original? You must have not played the original, man, because the original was bigger and better than the remake. But anyways, that's for another time. That's gonna be it. Hope you guys liked the video. Tell me what you think. If you do have the game, if you played it, what do you think about it? Is it worth the $60? Or am I just, crazy and I don't know what I'm talking about? But anyways, that's gonna be it, guys, so I'll see you later.